Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today's video is going to be a bit different. I'm going to be talking about my experience and some of you guys' experience when you tell people you're from Cameroon. This probably also applies to any of you guys who are from these other African countries that are not Ghana, not Nigeria, and certainly not Egypt. I hope you guys like this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comment section, and like always, like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Before I start, I just want to mention that my experience is completely different when I go to French-speaking countries, because most of the time people know where Cameroon is because we're like awesome and like super famous. Anyway, let's just get straight into it. I live in Canada, Toronto, and one of the most popular questions that they ask you is what's your background, especially when you have an accent. And for me, I obviously have an accent. Most of the time people cannot pinpoint what my accent is. So basically I meet someone and the question comes up. I say something and they're like, oh my gosh, you have such a nice accent. What's your background? And sometimes I'm like, guess, and they're like, no, you tell me, and I'm like, no, you guess. And so they guess, and they, first of all, 90% of the time they ask me if I'm Haitian because they can pick up some French in my accent. I'm like, no. Then they're like, okay, are you from Guadeloupe? And I'm like, no. And then they pick another Caribbean island and they pretty much go through the whole of the Caribbean, and I'm like, no, I'm actually African. I'm from Cameroon, which is in Central Africa. And they're like, oh, is that next to Kenya? And I'm like, no, Kenya is in East Africa. I mean, I'd be really happy if someone actually told me, is that next to Nigeria? Because I could finally say yes. Yes, it is. It is right next to Nigeria. But that like barely ever happens. Toronto is very diverse, so a lot of the times people just assume that I'm from the same country as them, which is, I mean, I guess, like, sure. But I've had some really strange experiences. Like, I've had a Bangladeshi cab driver that just assumed I was Bangladeshi too, so they just started speaking to me, and I was like, I'm from Cameroon, you know. Then he was like, actually it was really funny, I was like, I'm from Cameroon, and he was like, oh, what state is that in Bangladesh? Because he didn't know. And I was like, oh no, it's a country in Africa. And he was like in total shock. I've never met someone from Bangladesh that looks like me, so I don't know why he would assume that I'm from Bangladesh, but yeah, that was part of the experience. Anyway, the next thing that could possibly happen is that I actually tell people I'm from Cameroon and they know where that is, but the first thing that they revert to is football, aka soccer in North America. So I tell some of them I'm from Cameroon. If they're in their 60s, they would tell me, oh my gosh, I love Roger Mila. They would tell me how they really love the soccer player. The next age group, 40s to 50s, they'll tell me how much they love Patrick Mboma, and the rest would just tell me all these stuff about how great Eto'o is. And it has actually happened that someone has actually asked me if I personally knew Eto'o, because, you know, all Cameroonians probably just know each other because, I mean. But the other thing that happens, and I am actually guilty of, is reverting to French when I meet another Cameroonian, or when I tell someone that I'm from Cameroon. So you guys know Cameroon is bilingual English and French, with the majority speaking French and a minority speaking English, and I'm from the English speaking province. But I always just assume that any other Cameroonian just speaks French too. So this is usually what happens. I meet another Cameroonian, or somebody meets me, and it's like, oh hey, where are you from? You have a very familiar accent. And I'm like, oh, I'm from Cameroon. Oh, I'm from Gabon.
Ah, tu sais, c'est comme si ici à Toronto, il n'y a même pas de Camerounais. Je les vois pas aux fêtes, je les vois jamais. Toi, tu vis où?
And obviously I would speak French, but it's happened to me that I've spoken French to a Cameroonian and they're like,
English please, I do not speak French.
So if you meet a Cameroonian, don't assume that they speak French automatically, is the moral of the story. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like this video. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comment section. Also let me know where you're from, and if you're from one of the countries that is probably less popular, wherever you live, let me know what the experience is when you tell other people that you're from those countries. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and see you guys in the next video.